Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Should we close the door maybe? Or sorry? Ja, dat zou wel fijn zijn. Ja. Perfect, thank you. So, welcome everybody. My name is Turk, and today I present you Your Frontend is Killing. Let's try to talk sustainable and frontend, how you can improve your sustainability of your application. So, this is black, this is actually good, but this is not good. I already spoiled a little bit, but what's wrong with this? If you look to design. Well, it's too wide indeed. Thank you, Maria. So we can toggle the dark mode. So this is something we can do, of course. But there's something more wrong, except the dialogue. What's wrong more now? Any guesses, maybe? It's the green. So normally, like if you make green, it's very poisoning because all the poison in it, the green. So green is also not good. So we can also move it out there. Let's do it like this. Check. So which needs to change colors? That's annoying, by the way. And change the. Let's do it like this. And we can make it like, for example, dark blue. So that's one thing. And there's something else wrong, and that's the emoticons. So we can also delete them. Like it's too white, too yellow. Just use normal colors and use the context. So our context is like killing. So this is also my talk. Your frontend is killing, and let's make our application more sustainable. So there are some energy patterns you can use as a developer, and those are those. So you have the dark UI colors you can use. You need to think about, Wi-Fi is better than GSM, and all that kind of things. Thinks about logging, batch operation, power awareness. So if you want to be more sustainable, these are some patterns you can already use, and it's also having an example in it. So. That's one tip already. So what's in it for me today, or what's in it for you? There's a law incoming, and we need to comply to that. Green software principles, how do I need to think green? There's a sustainability pyramid you can use, and what can we do? And of course CO2.js, I will show you how you can monitor your own application. So before I was going to talk about sustainability, there was a reason. So I was watching YouTube, and then you see some video. And this is a 2-minute video I show you, and that was my awakening to begin with sustainability.
This is you. This is our homes, our cities, our lives and livelihoods. And this is climate change. It's here. It's happening right now. People sometimes wonder, what will happen in Europe if we do nothing, if we let global warming continue? Each year, an additional 50 million people will be exposed to high wildfire danger. Heat waves will cause 90,000 more deaths every year than now. Over 2 million more people will be flooded in coastal areas and river floodplains, while annual flood damages will rise to 300 billion euros. There will be major shifts in ecological domains throughout Europe, with alpine tundra seriously contracting and almost disappearing in the Pyrenees. Droughts and water shortages will impact southern regions even more than they do now, affecting farming, crop yield, energy production, and public water supply. What will happen if we act? If we limit global warming to well below 2 degrees, how will people, the economy, and ecosystems in Europe benefit? 2/3 of the increase in people exposed to high wildfire danger would be avoided. 2/3 of the increase in deaths from heat waves would be avoided. The impacts of coastal and river flooding would be more than halved, and stress on ecosystems and habitats would be considerably lower. The drop in water resources availability and drought losses in southern regions would be halved. And if we also adapt to climate change, we can reduce impacts even further. Adaptation can have long-lasting benefits for our people, economy, and our ecosystems. Our study illuminates the importance of the European Green Deal, putting climate action at the heart of our long-term strategy, and why Europe is committed to be climate neutral by 2050.
So that was my reason to start with sustainability. You can already see it around the world. There are things happening that are not normal, I think. And I was thinking further, let's be more sustainable in our work, so we can do also something there. And it's a hot topic. It will be come. So.
This is you.
Oh, we can also start again. So, hi, my name is Turk. I work currently at the Rabobank. My team is also up front here. Thank you for joining. I'm also a conference organizer, and I work at Code Lab currently. Full stuff developer, trying to do everything if I can do. I love to speak, and I'm also one of the communities at the Rabobank, and I love to share some things like this. But the most important, why? Why are we doing this? Who's working for a company that have more than 250 people? Can I raise your hands? So you all need to comply to a law, or your company need to, because more than 250 people, a certain revenue, and that kind of things. So they need to think about certain things. There's a law that's called the CSRD, the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive. And what is that? That's a sustainability report with all kind of things that your customers can see, hey, you're doing sustainable things. Like a financial report, you will also in the future have the sustainability report. And it's to be more transparent. So this is coming if you like it or not. So this is coming our way. So we need to think about certain things also as a developer or an architect or everywhere. Mostly we are thinking about the aviation industry, like that is, that is also a big deal. But in the IT industry, we don't think about certain things. So let's do it right now. There's a philosophy behind it, green coding or green coding principles. So the green coding principles, you need to think about your carbon. Number 2, your energy. Number 3, where it's coming from wind or from solar panels. You need to think about hardware, running in the cloud, less connections to the outside world is mostly better. Doing nothing is better, but running on certain times. Those are things that you can think of as a developer if you're running your code somewhere. And number 8 is to monitor. And with CO2.js, we are going to monitor our code. So mostly if we think about the pyramid, we think like, hey, our code, we can do, we can benefit the most of that. And then the network, and then the data center, and then the end user. But actually, it's the other way around. Like, our code is like less. And then you have the network, so if you have a decision like we implement caching on architecture, that's even better. And then you have data center, think about the data center being green or that kind of things. And then the end users, that they don't use certain things in your app. So there's a whole pyramid behind it, and our code is less impactful. But if we do this like at the Rabobank, we are working on a big app, and we have more than 1 million users. And then it's interesting, because then you're stretching it out. So you can have a bigger impact, and even in your code you can have an impact. And I will show you also in a minute. But the most impact you make on your end users. It's all about your end user, and if they do certain things, then you can make that also better. One website is Website Carbon. I really love it because I'm always redirect to that one. This of course this one. And you can check your web page if you want. So we can fill something in. Do you have a website you want to check maybe? Rabobank? Check, of course. Thank you. So we can check this and then do rabobank.nl and then check it. And we have label C. So that's actually, you see like you have the global average is somewhere here, but most of the times it's F. But if you think about compression and that kind of things, you can already have the label C, and then if you have Google like one picture, it's mostly A or A+, because there's almost nothing on that website except the search bar. So those have mostly the A label, and you can also check it of your own company if you want. So that's very nice to check your own company's website. It can also be bad, and then you see something like this. What did I do wrong? And yeah, you need to improve there. So this is already something you can see like, hey, we're doing not good. Website carbon.com. But we can also monitor ourselves with CO2.js. We can measure it. It's an open source JavaScript library, and you can estimate the emissions based on byte. So what they do with CO2.js, they measured the whole data center, and then they convert it to a byte. And then the grams of CO2 per byte. So they created a library that transformed the bytes to CO2 emissions. It's a model. It's not perfect because every data center is different, but it gives an idea how your application is doing. And I will show you in a minute. Yeah, how with the model, indeed, what I said. There are two models: the sustainable web design model and the 1 byte. The one checks the whole chain, and only the 1 byte is only checking the data usage. So you have the 1 byte, that's more the data center users and the network transfer. So there's two separate things. Or you can check the whole chain, so from the data center, network, and then the end user, and then at the end, production. So this is the whole chain exactly. And that gives us more insight of these kind of things. We are going to create an application with React, Next.js, and Maintain. It's a component library, and I like that one. We are going to use TypeScript. We are going to do some live coding, so everything can potentially go wrong. React component library to make it more like nice and that kind of things, because we are still front-end developers or full stuff. And let's measure. So we are going to create an average, so we can ask for an average. For example, from the Netherlands, what's the average of the Netherlands? The average of Poland, for example, that's completely different. The host is our host green, so if I go to rabobank.nl, is the host, is it green, the data center? We can check also per visit, so if we visit one time, how much grams of CO2 I emitted. We are going to compare it to cars, then we can know like, hey, with 10,000 or 1 million users, I can drive to the other side of the world with one change. With 10,000 views, we're going to change, and what the effect is of images or videos. That is the concrete example I want to show you in some minutes. But first, a demo. Can you see it at the back also? Yeah? Nice. So we are going to create an application with Next.js. So we do an npx, create next app, TypeScript, and then we are creating our project. And that's Frontmania. So it needs some time. It's okay, it needs, we're going to install a new version of Next.js. It's interesting. So we're going to continue. Source directory, some defaults. I don't going into that one. And we're going to create an application here. And let's see how it goes. Some elevator music. So we create a directory with Frontmania. So we can go into Frontmania, and then we need to install some dependencies. And one of those dependencies is the library. So there's the Green Web Foundation library here, and with CO2, and some types we're going to use in TypeScript, and we're going to install that one. And then the next one is we are also going to create or install maintain, some hooks and some components to make it more visible with nice styling. And then at last we are going to use, also I'm going to use later on a node, and I'm going to interact with the backend. So for the backend REST call I'm using Axios. So at this moment we installed the dependencies, and we can go to our project. So I will open our project, and that's Frontmania. So I'm opening the project here, and then we created our application. You also see some node modules already, a source, fonts. I'm also going to delete some stuff we don't use now. I will delete them. I'm going to create some styling directory with styles, and with CSS all in it, that kind of things. Refactor. We have the styles. I have my own style. I'm just deleting all the styles and have my own style. Globals. I'm using, by the way, IntelliJ Live templates. Then I'm not so fast with typing, so this is nice. This one I just delete. So we have a page, and that page is going to call something called an average. So the first thing what we are going to do is an average. That's a dashboard, so we're creating the component. So what we are going to do is creating a dashboard, and with an average file tsx. Don't want to mention it every time. And then we are going to put the average in there. And here you can see that we are going to create some text component and some div, and we want to get the average of the Netherlands. First some CSS, sorry about it. Next time I will copy paste it or something. That's quicker. Stats group, there's also some CSS stuff, and some layout, and then we did this because we want to have the HTML and body, and we are going to use the average import. So within CO2 we are using the import average intensity from CO2 library, and then get the data from it, and then you can say like in the Netherlands. So you get here we have our first component, and I'm going to start the server. npm run dev. Close these kind of things. I'm sorry, I'm also a backend engineer. I'm mostly using IntelliJ. I think the half of you using Visual Studio Code, or who's using Visual Studio Code? Almost everyone, nice, okay. I'm almost the only one, but yeah, I'm doing kind of everything, so I like to program in this one. It's not perfect, nobody's perfect, but yeah. So at this moment, our local host is running, and we're waiting now, and we created our first component. Everything good so far. So this is the grams of CO2 we emitting per kilowatt hour. So this is the first component. Yeah, you can check. You can also check it from Poland, for example. A nice website also to check is this one, electricitymaps.com, and then you can see like, yeah, we're doing okay, well. But I was in Belgium last week, and they're doing even better, but it can also be worse, like Poland. So we're doing pretty fine here. So back, the next step will be the host. So we are going to check the host. So if it's green or not. So creating a file with host. Sorry about the naming, it's not perfect, but it's something. I need to have the extension, of course, .tsx. And then I have an asynchronous function, and that one will also check the host. So we have a hosting part that's here in the import. Hosting, and you can also use it from that library, CO2 library, and then you can check your domain. So for example, if you want to check your domain, rabobank.nl, never checked this one, but it probably, I hope it's good. rabobank.nl, and you can check it. I also need to add it to my page, so I need to check here like the host. And then it's showing something, and is it false? Interesting. I didn't expect this one. Yeah, it's saying sustainable, so I would say, is this something wrong here? Let's check it. Like this or something, maybe is that working? So host, maybe. I'll just put it here. Maybe timeout or something. It's taking some time, interesting. Oh, there's getting an exception. Getting something back. That's probably because of the HTTPS or something. It's cannot. Interesting. Check it again. No, it's not. Green. It says interesting, but we can see it here. It should be green. Probably a network issue, but yeah, the Rabobank is sustainable. So I can also check it with Google. Then I know for sure. Okay, interesting. Something to look up, but Google for certain is green, so it's there also. Website Carmen is saying like, hey, you're green, so there's a difference there, so it's a nice one to look it up. Yeah, the next one is the server. We are going to create a node server because we want to check the bytes in our backend. And with Next it's a little bit difficult, so that's why I'm going to use Node. And from there we are measuring the bytes, what we're sending to our front end. So I'm going to create something here. Node.js of server.js, of course. Also some Node server.js. So this one is just also starting a Node.js server and also measures our backend, how many bytes we are consuming. And we want to measure it, of course. Which one do we have first? Per visit, so we can check it per visit here. Per visit tsx. So again, I created some div with the text in it, and we want to show it again, the emissions, what we are producing. And for that you can use the model, what I said, the SWD module. And as you can get it like this, the module, and also you have a type that you're using, SWD, and then you can just say, like for example, per visit. And this is the size I'm getting back from the backend. That's why we're using Axios just for demo purposes. And then you can see how much emissions that the web page is producing. Again, I need to add a component here, visit. Check and node server.js. It's ready. So again, we have a new component. In this case, we produce 0.42 grams of CO2, our web page, based on that it's in production, not on our local host, because that's different. It's a model if it's like used in production. So you now know, like this web page is producing like this. That's nothing still, but if you make some changes, I will show you in a minute, then you can also see what the impact of that is. Next one is we are going to show what is the effect if you do it like 10,000 times. Then you can already say like square, if you have 10,000 visitors or maybe 1 million or something, then you can already see like the impact is more. So then you already need some trees to compensate. And I'm going to compare it with also with the comparison with cars. How much you can drive to, for example, to Paris, or how many web page visits. Comparison.txt. And again, I have here comparison. And I need to add it to the page, of course. Check. Auto reload. It's there. So now you can see like a Ford Ranger is producing almost 200 grams of CO2. And a normal average car is like 150. And an average car is like this. And our site is now producing not so much. So we're doing quite good with only this. But yeah, we don't have anything on our website, so no images of that kind of things. So we are going to show you the effect of an image on your sustainability. So the next sign is compression.x. Interesting, I don't want that. So I'm copying some images here to show you the effect of if you don't use compression. Frontmania. So I'm edited here. I also need to edit in my components. So I have the page, and I'm going to use it with compression check. Okay. And now I added a one with like it's huge. I need to check it. So this is one image like 20 megabytes. So I will. This is just only one view, but if you see it like a million views, then it certainly has effect. Like here. So if you do it like 1 million times, then you know already like, hey, that's not good. 1 million users like, hey, we can drive to the end of the world if we add this image. So if you don't compress it, we can go to where? We can sometimes around the world even, I think, with only this image. It's like 20 megabytes. It's really ridiculous. But that's what I want to say. If you use something like a compression, compress it also. And if you don't need this image, delete it then. Because I can drive sometimes to the end of the world, like with this. So from sustainability perspective. So a tiny change has a huge impact here. Because 1 million users, then that has some effect on your sustainability. So what we can do is just a simple change, or you can better even delete it, but we can also change it to JPEG. I don't know if that's the best option, but it's an option. And we also need to change this one. We need to restart the server because it's already calculating. And we need to check. So with 1 million users, I changed it to almost 9,000 kilometers. So with a tiny change again to JPEG, and it's the same quality, you already make a change here. So it's instead of super around the world, you can now drive like 9,000 kilometers, and that's only by compression. It's even better. Don't use the image. If you don't need it, you can better delete it then. So that's even better. So that is something I want to show to you. So there are also other things you can do. So if you look to your network, design is also key. So if you're using things you don't need to use, that's even better, like NPM. Like we can install the whole world if you want, but please delete those things you don't need, because with packaging it is possible that they come also online, of course, and then it also takes some bytes. And yeah, throw away what you don't need. So use something like caching. I was last time at Uber, and they said we implemented HTTP caching. So that kind of things already helps. So use caching, and also for the backend you have also caching things. So that's pretty nice. Data center is even better. So we're getting more impact here. So you can check your data center if you're green or not. So we can check Australia or the Netherlands, and you have some hosts here that are green. So for example, in Amsterdam, they're using the energy that it's consuming to warmth and give it back to the houses. So that's things that they think about. And data centers is not only like the power, it's also the lights, the cooling, the service, the monitoring, network, storage drivers. So you can make a big impact there also. And then the best thing we can impact, I think. What can you do? There's also a green software course you can follow. It's free. It's giving you some attention why you need to look on. Ecosia, is someone already using Ecosia here? Nice, still some. But they are planting trees. So for every search, they're getting money because of the later on you can see the marketing things, the advertising, and they plant trees from that. So that's something Google don't do. You can also plant your own tree. So I was thinking this morning, like I drive from Belgium to here. That's not very sustainable. So let's make a change together. So let's go to Tree Nation and plant trees. So you can go to the Tree Nation and you can plant some trees. I thought of the community reforestation in Java. And let's plant some trees here together. So planting tree this time. And with love from the conference Frontmania. I think that was cool, and then you can pay and plant. So at the moment we have planted some tree, and someone in Indonesia now see that we have a conference here. How cool is that? So that's pretty nice. So we gave some compensation there, which I like also. Yeah, you can also have a dark mode on your mobile, on your desktop, on your laptop. Use it, it's better. Don't use a steam locomotive, go with the train. And yeah, the best thing you can do is just sleep and do nothing. That's the most sustainable. But of course, think about what you're doing. That's more a thing to think. There are also some ebooks you can use, or you can read. Building green software, sustainable software architecture, and development. You can, if you want to read something, it's pretty nice. There's also, by the way, a meetup group, Green Software Foundation in the Netherlands. It's also interesting. They have all the times they have meetups together, and they're thinking green. So every time they are adding something new. So it's something that will pop up more and more in the future, I think. Just like AI is also something else. the best is don't use AI, of course, but yeah, it's going hand in hand together later on, I think. So the 3 key takeaways are the eco-friendly architecture. Think about what you are doing. Are the architects here? No? Only developers? Nice, cool. So the best thing is, measure your code with something like with CO2.js. There are also other things you can use within Kubernetes. With Kepler, there are certain applications you can use to monitor your sustainability and do the small enhancements. Check the design patterns, very important. Use dark mode as much as possible. It's better because later on, if someone sees it on your laptop, it's better. It's less consuming. In this case, it's not. But if they're seeing the recording on a laptop or something, it is. And think about caching, downsize, image, and that kind of things. Angular packages, downsizes. It's the best, and also better for performance. So if you also want to sell something like sustainability, think about performance also. It's mostly hand in hand with performance, developer experience like build caching. You can also use build caching, for example, and you can also sell it better to your managers, I think. So, thank you very much, I would say. And if you have some questions, let me know or go here. Thank you very much. And walk by, I would say it's a nice discussion, I think. Thank you. Enjoy the drinks.